Thank you. You have to start by saying hello to Monica's mom. Nice to see you again. I think the last time I got a hug, but that'd be a virtual hug. It's great to see everybody, council members and staff and community members. Thanks for participating in this wonderful event, this transition. I'm mindful that all of you personally, professionally are dealing with a very difficult circumstance in our world, in our community, in our state. This virus is very dangerous, and we have a couple tough months to go through. And I want to reinforce the comments that I've heard from others that to really be very careful and safe. This ceremony takes me back to my first time when I was sworn in as a city council member. I was an outsider in my community when I ran. So my candidacy wasn't really welcomed by the insiders. And so transitions are challenging, campaigns are challenging. And I'll tell you, in campaigns, you do a lot of talking, but one of the hallmarks of being a good council member is doing a lot of listening. And listening to those from across the spectrum of folks in your community, knowing that each person has the right to their opinion, and that the challenge in leadership is not just speaking and doing it your way, but trying to find that consensus point. And it's not an easy thing to do, but I know that you're all up to the challenge. And I think that's will make Antioch proud going forward. Well, I'm appreciative of this honor to swear in my friend, Lamar. You're not wearing a hat. Where's your hat? But, okay.
Sorry.
But what an honor it is for me to swear you in. And so I'd like to ask you to raise your hand and repeat after me. And please state your name.
I, Lamar Thorpe,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the
State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the
State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter as mayor of Antioch. Congratulations.
Thank you. So 4 years ago when I got elected, I didn't write a speech. I usually kind of shoot off the cuff, write a few notes. And when I got sworn in, I was at a loss for words as to what to say. So I was a bit overwhelmed. So I wrote down my speech this time. So first I want to point out that after me there will be two more. We'll end the meeting, and then there'll be two more swearing-ins for our school board members, Antonio Hernandez and Dr. Clyde Lewis. And so I'd ask if everyone can, once we close the meeting, if you can stay behind so that we can get them sworn in and officially make them school board members. I want to thank my family for supporting me in this effort. Just to be quite frank, much has been said about my family. And I just want to thank Patrice for standing by me. When I won, she brought me over an apple pie, which is my favorite dessert. And so I'm thankful that you're still an important part of my life as we co-parent Kennedy. I also want to thank my son in Washington, D.C., who's watching here today. I love you, and I'm glad that you're a part of my life. And of course, I want to thank my dad in Los Angeles who's watching. You know, he came to this country looking for a better life, a better opportunity. And he came here not only giving himself and his family an opportunity to do good, but he and my mom took in several foster children, including myself, and they were able to give us an opportunity to make something of ourselves and look at what he has created in me. So thank you, Dad, for everything that you've done. And my sisters, Pat, Sylvia, my biological sister, and who's watching in Atlanta, my nieces and nephews. Thank you. I love you all. I absolutely love you all. I know I saw some of my shipmates from the Navy who are watching here today, and I love you all too. And I was proud to serve with you on the USS Frank Cable in Guam. And I thank you for joining me. Before I begin, I want to take a moment to congratulate my colleagues on the City Council, as well as our new City Clerk and new City Treasurer, Lauren Posada. And for those of you that may not know, ideologically, they're two completely opposite folks, but I voted for both of them because I knew it was important to have new perspectives in our city. And so I appreciate you for putting yourselves forward in this campaign. I look forward to working with all of you to find solutions to continue to move our city forward. To the former colleagues on the council and the former mayor, I would like to thank you for your service to our city, both Sean Wright and Councilwoman Joy Motz. We are a better city today because of your dedication to service. To the residents of Antioch, thank you. Thank you, and I'm humbled by your love and the trust that you have placed in me to serve as your mayor. 40 other individuals have taken the oath ahead of me. There have been remarkable people who have led Antioch and conferred a legacy as eternal as our Delta, but as ever-changing as our demographics. Since moving to Antioch 8 years ago, I have been amazed that people make themselves believe how and why Antioch can't do this and Antioch can't do that. Having been born in prison, raised in foster care, and graduated in high school barely able to read and write, I used to think in my life that I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. But today I'm your mayor because I stopped dwelling on what I could not do and began to focus on what I could do. I'm a proud Navy veteran, a proud father, a proud graduate of George Washington University, a homeowner, and a healthcare executive. There is nothing anyone can tell me that the people of Antioch cannot do. Together, let's start focusing on what we can do and stop dwelling on what we can't do. Whether your family traces back to Antioch's founding in 1872, making this city one of the oldest in California, or whether you came here from San Francisco or Oakland in the 2000s, or you recently came here from a different part of the country like I did, or a different part of the globe like Afghanistan, China, or the Pacific Islands, every single one of our residents came to our city with the hopes and dreams that the city of Antioch provided. This has always been a place where you can buy your first home, raise your family, and even start a business. This has always been Antioch, but not for everybody. Like any growing city, we have our challenges, our pains, growing pains. But challenges and growing pains are a sign of a robust community coming together and learning about each other because they care about the future direction of our city. I'm constantly struck by the optimism by our residents, which can sometimes be overshadowed by the fading voices of yesteryear, constantly reminding us of what we can't do. Your optimism has sparked ideas of how our city can do better, about sharing in your hopes and aspirations, always looking towards the future, focused on making sure that we become the best we can. As elected officials and stakeholders, we have a fundamental duty to always ask how we can do better for our residents. From homelessness to police reform, we are a city that must be open to new, bold ideas because simply talking about them will lead us on a path where the very issues we would like solved will only get exacerbated. We can house human beings on our streets, not because it looks bad, but because it's the morally right thing to do. We can do this by matching our values, what's in our heart, with our city's budget, and investing in solutions like leasing the Executive Inn on 18th and providing the wraparound services to stabilize people, getting them back on the right track and towards permanent housing. We can reimagine public safety, not because it's a political phrase, not because it's a trendy political phrase, but because we have to do our part to ensure equal justice under law. The words that are enshrined in the United States Supreme Court. Our policies, from police reform to building the social safety net, has to be about fighting the overcriminalization of poor white people and all Black and brown people. We have to provide nourishing environments for our youth before and after school programs so that their lives aren't defined as just latchkey kids. The Antioch Community Center, the Nick Rodriguez Community Center, which effectively serve as venues for private parties, have to be transformed into world-class youth development centers. That's what we paid for through Melrose. At the end of the day, these aren't numbers on the free or reduced lunch program. These are not statistics on standardized exams. These are our children. These are our children, and they deserve better, irrespective of how they got to Antioch. They don't deserve to be treated with contempt. When we can also create living jobs like we're doing in the cannabis industry. Yes, it requires risk. Yes, it may not always work out, but that's risk. In the last few years, literally in the last 2 years, Vice Mayor Monica Wilson, former council member Tony Tiscareño, and I took a risk to regulate cannabis right here in Antioch in the face of every doubting Thomas and every negative Nancy. Today, Antioch is on track to being home to the third largest in-grow cannabis facility in the country. We're projecting more than 600 jobs, living wage jobs, right here in Antioch that offer full benefits to its employees. The city is projected, just this 1 year, is projected to bring in nearly $1 million in new revenue, primarily fueled by one cannabis dispensary. Don't tell me what we can't do. We can contribute to solutions to climate crisis. We can do more to assist families and small businesses during the global COVID pandemic through rental assistance. We can do more to clean up our streets, but we have to be honest in recognizing that we must be self-sufficient in solving these problems and equally confident in recognizing that we have the talent to solve those problems right here in our community. Irrespective of how you got to Antioch or how long you've been here, as a community, we must rise to the challenge and work together to shape our future. And I look forward to doing that with every council member, every resident, our state partners, our county partners, and I want to thank everybody for participating here today. Thank you very much, everyone.
I remember when, just one quick thing, I remember when Lamar was, calling me over the campaign season, and I just told him, "You're definitely going to win." And he's like, "Really? You think so?" And I think that speech illuminates why I had, not a single doubt in my mind that